So, I wanted to make this video, as some of you guys might have noticed, I got a 2001 Honda Insight now, and I'm learning about it as we go. EGR valve, it's a problem. Got no check engine light. I was only getting 44 miles to the gallon, and granted, it's pretty cold in New York right now. Not nearly as terrible as it normally would have been, but a lot of people say you don't get quite much more than 50 miles to the gallon. Well, what I did is three things. I changed the EGR valve, I changed the 3 injectors, and I changed the oxygen sensor, because I don't know what kind of oxygen sensor they put. You know, maybe they put one from the manual transmission versus the automatic, so I wanted to make sure of that. And the EGR valve, a lot of people put different EGR valves on, because these are like $200. You know, this is aftermarket, and I know aftermarket ones don't have the best reputation. But I was not getting a check engine light code, but I recently bought a new Autel scanner, and it said it failed the test. So I thought this was part of my problem. So somebody said that they put an EGR valve from like a Honda Accord. So this is it, basically. Guy mentions the ad in the YouTube video, which one he put. This is the number I put. I got it from eBay because I paid nothing for this. I paid $35. Now, this one here, it's basically the same. It's a little bit bigger, as you can see, but it fits. And this is, cross-reference to this. Now, this one had a little tiny hole in here. Now, I'll show you this one first. See how big that's a big, sizable hole. Maybe it looks like something you've done, but you see how the ramp is right there at the edge of this. This one here, you can see there's no ramp there, so there's less room for a hole, to be honest. And the hole was basically half the size. I started die grinding this, and then I realized because I don't have this ramp that I can't go crazy or I'll go through the casting. I got 10 miles more to the gallon, hyper miling it for sure. But I figured, let me just make it bigger, and because I put this thing on, it had a little cutout here. In fact, you could still see it over there. I didn't have it all the way of where the gasket is. So I figured I might as well enlarge it. It's significantly bigger than it was, and I'm going to try that. Also, one of the cheap injectors that I bought, because I buy everything cheap because I have so many cars, but I figured there's always something that's good when it's cheap. But one of them is obviously leaking, because after I shut off the car for a while, I restarted, it stumbles and then it straightens out. And just now I removed all 3 injectors, and there was not much pressure on it when the original ones had a lot of pressure. So that's another thing I'm getting to. Maybe I'll include it in this video, but they actually gave me 4 injectors instead of 3, so I was like, okay. So now I have 1. I'm going to change 1. I'm going to do the test, and change 2, do the test. But I figured, let me take this off and grind this. I'll probably do a little bit more just to give it more, flow. If I can catch the inside there even. See, that's a sharp turnoff right there, but I may make up for the fact that it's not as big by cutting off, that inner thing right there where the black shadow is right there. If I cut that at a 45-degree angle, it may be very close to the original, so I get more flow. I think that's the key, because ultimately, if you have a warmer intake air charge, it'll get better mileage. And this thing's so small, I think it helped dramatically because it's actually working. I don't think it was the oxygen sensor, because actually before I changed the oxygen sensor, I drove it first, and I got decent mileage like right away. And almost every single time I've done it, I struggled to get 48, and then it would go right back down to 44. I got up to 56, and I should really get closer to 60 or 66 even. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to play with the injectors, and then try it. So basically, this is from a similar year or a newer year Honda Accord. Obviously, if you look at the pictures and you could find one that's more open like this, it may be a better suited EGR valve to try to do this to, regardless of that size, because like I said, you can use a die grinder like I'm doing and try to, make everything equal, so to speak. Like this one, you can actually change the bottom on this by unscrewing these, because it has like nut and bolt. That's the way they put it together. Whereas this one here, you'd have to break the top here to get these screws out. I guess that's the way they assembled it, and it's in there. If you were able to get it apart and drill through, perhaps you could put this bottom onto this EGR valve. I don't see why that wouldn't work, but then again, the pin may be different and all this shit. As you see, this one unscrews technically. I think that's a hex or a Torx or something like that. They got it on somehow. It's Chinese built. What are you going to do? But it is what it is. I don't know what that little hole is for. If it's just in the casting where they hold it in a jig. which is what it might be. I hope no exhaust gas comes out of there. In any case, I think what I'm doing is suitable, or at least makes it doable, but the check engine light did not come on. The bigger problem is my injectors, the new injectors I put, were not so great. So I'm curious of which one it was. I think it was the EGR, especially since my thing said it failed the EGR, but it was not enough to trigger the code, because it probably opens a little bit, but the pin moves, but it doesn't really have an effective, you know, thing, whether it's broken or disconnected from there, and the thing is lifting, but it's not really changing with the EGR shit. You know, who knows, you know, how they figure out emissions, but this is more than just emissions. Like I said, supposedly this thing really helps with the gas mileage. So I'm going to keep going with this and do a little bit more. Like I said, I'm going to cut it on the inside there, straighten that out. Obviously, I don't want to go to that threshold right there where I don't really have the meat, so to speak, in there. So once I do that, then I'll see how it is. I'll see if it gets any improvement. Forgive me, I got the AC compressor on, the air compressor on. Anyway, so like I said, I cut it on the inside there, and you can kind of see now. It looks like that corner there is not. I got to get that corner, technically that corner, but I don't even need to. It's actually open enough. But you see, it's like ported and polished almost. You know, I wonder if that like supercharges the EGR to make it flow more. But you know, who knows? But it's an interesting thought, to say the least. But almost done. I think I'm almost done, or just about done. I might clean it up a little bit more. Alrighty. So looks pretty good now. As good as it's gonna get, I think. Yeah, I can go a little bit there on the left. Like I said, it comes to a point though, you got to be a little scared how far you go. But this is a huge improvement. It was basically a little sliver. I gather if you pull this, this one up online, it may show you, if you cross those part numbers. But it's something like a 2010 Honda Accord or something like that. I can't remember. But another guy in another YouTube video recommends that. But and he said he had no problems for years after that. But it's such a small hole compared to the other one, like I said, that I'm like, how can that be good enough? And this is so much more volume in there. So trying to make up for that. We'll see. Worst case scenario, I can always put the old one back on and say fuck it. But get rid of those little pieces of metal. But other than that, I'm doing pretty good here. It looks like I can go a little bit more on the left side. And this way, yeah, basically there too. Alright, I can go out a little bit more. Alright. I don't want to keep going outside the lines. I think that's as good as it's going to get. And it's a huge improvement to what it was. So, we shall see. So far, this is the most I've ever gotten. Keeping it between 50 and 55. I'm definitely hypermiling it, if you want to say. I got my heat on and whatnot. But, I reset the FCD light. But, whoops. Anyway, only on 7.7 miles. But this is more than I could ever get it. So I think the EGR really helped. Also, the injectors I changed, I got 4 of them in the mail when I had ordered 3. And one of them I think was bad because it would shake occasionally. So I kept swapping it with I had the leftover one, and then I swapped it, and I swapped it again. And of course, it was the last one. Excuse me, got a hiccups. Last one ended up doing that. Straightening it out as far as a shake was concerned. I thought I felt it again, so I'm like, I was starting to debate whether or not it is the EGR, but grinding out that EGR definitely helped. It could have been the injector, but there was really no ill effects when it ran. Of course, got to be something, but there was a huge improvement when I did it the first time. So I never hit 60 on this, never. So that's, I don't care how much I did it. So, and I just ordered a new set of tires because that's supposed to, if you buy the right tires, that's supposed to help also with mileage. So I'm getting there. Pretty cool, I must say. That's so crazy to get 60 miles to the gallon. So I shall see where this EGR takes me, but as you can see right there, I'm kind of hovering, trying to hover on 75 on the graph that goes along there. So far so good. I think, like keeping this speed and whatnot, I can get up and if I'm in a rush or anything like that, so I'll get 50, but it seems to be working, to say the least. Worst case scenario, I can buy new injectors for it that are not cheap, and but I'm quite impressed. Yeah, I never got 61. This is really good. Just getting off the highway now. I went on the other side. This is 62.9. Actually, just went up. It's not, this thing doesn't really manipulate the mileage when you let go of the gas as much as you'd think, like on other cars where it instantly starts changing. It really takes an evaluation. So I was driving for a while on 62.9. Now I just jumped up to 64. This is really what it's more likely supposed to be, the mileage. I mean, this is incredible how a fucking EGR valve does that. And or the injectors, I'm sure it couldn't hurt, but like all these things you do, you gain a half a mile or a mile per gallon more, and it makes a difference in the end. That's why I'm going to change the tires too, because there's a big deal with that, supposedly. So there's more things to do. Some of the aerodynamic panels are not right on this car, I didn't realize it. So what are you gonna do? You live and learn. And just to touch on the batteries for this car, because I think I left the other video, I left it hanging a bit. Ended up being, I pulled the number 18 fuse in the box under the hood, and the number 16 one over here underneath, which is like the fifth one over on the bottom row, and it resets the IMA. Because it sat for a few, like 4 months on the guy, and it would probably, it needed to be charged. But I had changed all those batteries, and it definitely worked. Because I charged it for like 2 or 3 days, and this thing has been great. That being said, the other battery could have been fine. I just didn't know to reset it. So, but at least I made the video for that. But so far so good, I must say. So going on 16 miles now. 64.1 miles per gallon. I was really upset. Literally 2 days ago, I was getting 44 miles to the gallon. I was going back and forth to, from Long Island to Manhattan, driving as easy as I could, and the most I would get was 48. And I used my new scanner, and I tested the EGR valve because it's what I suspected, from everything I read. So I went down a little bit. But I was shocked to find out that the best I can, when I did the, I was shocked when I only got 44 miles per gallon. So I did a check on the EGR valve and it failed. So I says, that's interesting. So, and I saw other cars fail for other reasons. I was doing a lot of research on it. So I'm very happy. So I'm going to end this video, and I'm going to keep striving to get a little more mileage as time goes on. Thanks for watching.